Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 Good Minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson. We're going to finish Matthew chapter 27 today. We're going to read verses 62 through 66. These verses really upset me and are frustrating to me because of what everyone else got and the disciples did not comprehend. Now, on the next day, which is the one after the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together with Pilate. And they said, "Sir, we remember that when he was still alive, the deceiver said, 'After 3 days I am to rise again.' Therefore give orders for the grave to be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come and steal him away, and say to the people, 'He has risen from the dead.' And the last deception will be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "You have a guard, go make it as secure as you know." And when they went and made the grave secure along with the guard, they set a seal on the stone. Okay. The Jews that came, the chief priests that came to Pilate, they knew. They knew exactly what Jesus said he was going to do. When Jesus raises from the dead, the apostles can't believe it, even though he told them. He told them straight up, this is what's going to happen, and said it simply and in a sentence without any semicolons. I'm going to go to Jerusalem. I'm going to be delivered over to the Romans. I'm going to be crucified. I'm going to raise on the 3rd day. He told them that multiple times, and they did not get it. But the high priests understood exactly what Jesus had said. They knew when, at the beginning of the Gospel of Matthew, when the 3 magi from the east came, and Herod wanted to know, well, what town is the Messiah going to be born in? They knew. Bethlehem. They knew. They knew the scriptures. They knew all about the Messiah. They knew everything they needed to know about Jesus, and they crucified him anyway. And this is so upsetting, but not as upsetting as the fact that the apostles didn't get any of it. Not yet, while the chief priests did. We saw that they call him the deceiver, and they're trying to take preemptive action so that the apostles don't show up and steal him from the grave. Their worries were unfounded because the apostles had no notion of doing anything like that because they were absolutely clueless and scared. But the chief priests were cautious. Why wouldn't they be cautious? They just crucified the Messiah, and they're trying to cover their bases and cover their tracks. And they know what they've done. And so they ask for Pilate for a guard. Throughout this whole process, Pilate has been accommodating, has he not? The one thing he didn't want to do was crucify Jesus, but he did it. He has been accommodating, and he's accommodating here. Okay, you got your guard. So they took the guard, took the guard to the garden tomb, and they placed the guard there, and then they put a seal. This would have been some sort of probably wax, and it had to be large to cover, the stone, where the stone fit in snugly to the excavated part of the hillside, where they put a seal, a wax seal. They may have even sealed it all the way around. I don't know. So that if anybody tampered with the grave, there would be evidence the grave was tampered with. Although how anybody would get past the Roman guard at this point, I don't know. And of course, nobody is intending to, because as we said before, the apostles are clueless and scared at this point. But that's what they did. They made it completely impossible for anyone to tamper with the grave. And this is going to be important in the preaching of the gospel. And isn't it interesting that they know this is what's going to be preached? If it happens, they're trying to prevent it from happening. They know that Jesus said he was going to do it. They know that if it looks like he did it, it's going to be the basis of the gospel message. And they're trying to stop it in its tracks. And they can't stop it. They can't try specifically as they did. They didn't specifically know what had been said by Jesus and by the prophets. And they indict themselves in every bit of this action. And they prosecute themselves before God, and that they know what they're doing and they do it anyway. Well, we'll pick up with chapter 28 Sunday morning next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.